Most passive investors don't quit because they lost money. They quit because they felt ignored. And if you're a syndicator or operator who thinks a quarterly email with a few bullet points is enough, we need to have a very honest conversation right now. The truth is, the number one reason limited partners pull out of future deals isn't poor returns, it's poor communication. And that gap between expectation and reality is quietly killing deal flow for operators across the country. We're talking about billions of dollars in passive capital sitting on the sidelines because investors felt like they were shouting into a void. Think of it like this. Handing someone your money and then hearing nothing is like dropping your car off at a mechanic and getting 0 updates for 6 months. You start to wonder if the car even exists anymore. The relationship between a syndicator and a passive investor is built entirely on trust. And trust is built through consistent, transparent, and human communication. Back in the low interest rate boom years, passive investors were more forgiving, deals were printing money, and optimism papered over a lot of communication sins. But now, in a higher rate, tighter margin environment, those same investors are watching every distribution like a hawk and refreshing their inboxes, waiting for someone to tell them what's actually happening. The psychology here is fascinating and a little brutal. Silence reads as bad news, even when there is no bad news. Studies on investor sentiment show that uncertainty, not loss, is the primary driver of anxiety. And anxiety is what turns a one-deal investor into a never-again investor. Here's what the data actually tells us. Passive investors who receive monthly updates, even short ones, report significantly higher satisfaction than those who receive only quarterly reports, regardless of financial performance. One survey from a private equity research group found that over 70% of LPs said communication quality was a top 3 factor in deciding whether to reinvest with an operator. Now let's address the elephant in the room most operators think. Investors want to hear good news, so when things get rocky, they go quiet. That is exactly backwards, and is the single most destructive mistake you can make in this business. Think about every great historical financial scandal from Enron to the 2008 mortgage crisis. The pattern isn't just that things went wrong, it's that the people in charge stopped talking, started spinning, and hoped the problem would solve itself before anyone noticed. Your passive investors are not naive. Silence doesn't protect them, it terrifies them. So what does a genuinely good investor update actually look like? It's monthly at minimum. It addresses both wins and headwinds, honestly. It includes a clear financial snapshot, a brief market context section, and a simple next step or action item, and it takes less than 3 minutes to read. You don't need a 40-page report. You need a 5-paragraph email that sounds like it was written by a real human being, not a compliance department. The biggest misconception in this space is that transparency about problems will spook investors and cause them to panic, but the opposite is true. When you proactively tell an investor, hey, we hit a permitting delay that's pushing our timeline by 60 days. Here's our adjusted projection and our plan. You're not showing weakness, you're showing the one thing passive capital desperately craves: competence under pressure. Practically speaking, build your communication cadence before you close the deal. Not after. Set the expectation during the raise that investors will receive monthly updates, define what those updates will include, and then execute that promise religiously. The operators who have the most loyal, repeat investor bases are almost always the ones with the most boring, predictable, reliable communication systems. There's also something deeply human and philosophically interesting at play here. Passive investors are essentially paying for peace of mind as much as they are paying for returns. When you deliver on communication, you are delivering the actual product, not just the promised yield. Discipline in communication is the same as discipline in underwriting. It's not glamorous, it doesn't go viral, but it is the foundation that every successful long-term operator is built on. The irony is that the operators who hate writing updates are often the ones who need investors the most, while the ones who treat communication as sacred are the ones investors are begging to get into deals with. So whether you're just launching your first syndication or you're scaling to hundreds of units, commit to the process. Update often, be honest always, and remember that the inbox is where trust is either built or destroyed, one email at a time. The size of your communication habit will determine the size of your investor base, full stop. And if any of this hit close to home, whether you're an investor trying to find operators who actually communicate, or an operator who wants to build the right systems from day one, check out our links in the description below, where we can help you get started in real estate investing, connect you with quality contractors, and introduce you to lenders who understand this space.